It was a report that our country was waiting for. A report from the United Kingdom that confirmed the worst fears of the people in power right now. That Indian government had taken assistance from the UK government for the 1984 Operation Blue Star, leaving many questions unanswered. And the most important being, why was foreign aid or foreign help required for an operation that clearly dealt with internal security? This in fact has led up to a huge political furor between various parties. Welcome to this week's edition of Politics First, the battle for the Sikh vote.
The documents show that the decision to provide advice was based on an explicit recommendation to ministers that the government should not contemplate assistance beyond the visit of the military advisor, and this was reflected in his instructions. The Cabinet Secretary found no evidence in the files, or from discussion with officials involved, that any other form of UK military assistance, such as equipment or training, was given to the Indian authorities.
The Foreign and Commonwealth Secretary, Secretary William Hague.
These words of William Hague, the UK Foreign Secretary, sending shockwaves through the British Parliament. The United Kingdom's burgeoning Sikh community and their representatives had been pressurising the state for days. Pressurising them to reveal whether the nation they now call home actually had any role in Operation Blue Star back home in India 30 years ago.
Why doesn't the Prime Minister just ask Lords Geoffrey Howe and Leon Britton what they agreed with Margaret Thatcher?
And it was Phil Miller's report that really sparked off this movement.
The thing to remember is that when I published the first, I published 3 documents, and that was after spending 2 afternoons at the government archives. Since then, the Cabinet Secretary has had 3 weeks. He's had the full resources of the British government and the civil service to go through what he says is 23,000 documents relating to this incident. And he's then seen it fit to only publish 5 of those documents. So the Cabinet Secretary's investigation is 5 documents, and I published 3 documents based on 2 afternoons' research. So the idea that this is anyway transparent, I think, is a complete whitewash.
Back home in India, the Sikh community was already on the streets demanding an inquiry into the anti-Sikh riots of 1984. A charged Akali Dal thus took little time to take on the Congress.
ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਦੀ ਕਾਂਗਰਸ ਹਕੂਮਤ ਦੇ ਇਸ਼ਾਰੇ ਤੇ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਲੈਨਿੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੀ ਔਰ ਖੁਦ ਰਾਜੀਵ ਗਾਂਧੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਬੜਾ ਦਰਖਤ ਗਿਰਤਾ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਹਿਲਤੀ ਹੈ.
The Congress was in comparison muted in its response, only saying that it didn't want to open up new wounds.
The developments of that last decade have been extremely painful for the people of Punjab. You know, people like us lost family members in that mad decade of terrorism, which was absolutely nightmarish, to say the least. It's with great difficulty that Punjab has attempted to heal its wounds and attempted to move on. You know, while I have a deep respect for people who want to go into things with profundity, I think it is also important that the healing process must be allowed.
And in the case of some, there were just no answers coming.
Ma'am, on 84 riots, the UK government has admitted...
I'm not saying anything.
The outrage continued to pour in.
Army can't be blamed. Indian Army is under the orders of the Commander-in-Chief, and he is under the orders of the Cabinet. So ultimately it is the Prime Minister. Why has UK to apologize? Our own people should apologize for having done it.
But for the National Democratic Alliance, this issue couldn't have come at a better time. The opposition, which is already cornering the Congress government on various issues like corruption and price rise, this emotive issue is now being raised very seriously. In fact, parties like the Shiromani Akali Dal are now demanding that documentation and correspondence of that particular period be made public.
The Akali Dal took the matter to Parliament. moving an adjournment motion to raise the issue of British help during Operation Blue Star, but could not come up due to the ruckus.
Let me tell you, not only 2014, for times to come, this is going to have huge repercussions for the simple reason that justice has not been served for last 30 years and it's been subverted by the same Congress party and that Gandhi family who are the perpetrators of this crime. I'm surprised that they even have the gall to compare 2002 and 1984, where in 2002 Mr. Rahul Gandhi has the gall to say that the government abetted it, and in 84 the government tried to stop it. If the government was abetting it in Godhra, then how come there were police people who died, 200 police people died trying to stop it, there were Hindus who died, there were Muslims who died, across the spectrum people died, and most importantly that there has been a Supreme Court monitored investigation where he has been cleared. Whereas in 84, not a single shot was fired by the police, there's not a single policeman who lost his life, leave alone who even got hurt, there's not a single mobster who got a scratch, and 10,000 of one single community is massacred, and they call it that if the government, this is what is called with the government trying to stop it. I dread to think what Mr. Gandhi's understanding of a situation is. And the most important thing that after 30 years, Mr. Gandhi and his party have worked overtime through the CBI and through the police to save people like Titler and Sajjan Kumar, where there are eyewitnesses accounts recorded in front of the magistrate.
For the Congress, it's an election where every single vote counts, and with this issue threatening their prospects, not just in Punjab but also in New Delhi, the party has chosen to take a cautious approach, only saying that they do not want to reopen old wounds.
Indian citizens know a lot more than anybody outside in the world would know. I think that it is important, and this is my very careful, considered advice to all colleagues, that there are things that we must find closure on. We have gone through a very difficult period in our history. We lost our Prime Minister. We saw enormous amount of social conflict erupt out of it. So many families were disrupted, so many people were killed, so much hurt and so much angst took place. I think it's very important for us as a nation to put a closure on it, not to escape, but to sincerely, sensitively and honestly put a closure.
What do those who were part of the establishment then think of the British report? M.K. Rasgotra was then the Foreign Secretary. He says that his office was kept in the dark about these developments.
All, in my view, in my recollection, intelligence-related activity. I had known Mrs. Gandhi over how many years? I think 40 years or so, ever since 1950. She was not the type to ask for help from Britain or anywhere else to sort out a situation of this kind. She was in correspondence with Mrs. Thatcher. They liked each other. They didn't agree on very many things in policy matters, but they were very fond of each other.
A key aide of Indira Gandhi, R.K. Dhawan, though still feels that Indira Gandhi was not to blame. He says it was the role of over-enthusiastic intelligence officers that was the reason for the British help.
But so far as my knowledge goes, I do not have any such knowledge. At that time, because I again reiterate what I said earlier, Mrs. Gandhi was deadly against any military action. It is the job of various intelligence agencies, and Mr. Cow was the security advisor, was reporting to her directly. Nobody would know what he has talked to her, and it could be that the intelligence agencies might have contacted their counterparts, but that says that this was in February. And the talks for negotiations with the Akalis and all that going on much later, even in March, even in April, there was negotiation going on to settle the issue of the demands of the Akalis and all that. So where is the question of seeking the help, say from UK or from any other country? That question does not arise.
But the BJP feels that it's hard to de-link Indira Gandhi and the Congress from the Blue Star episode, given that they were the ones in power.
It would be better in the interest of the country's image, what exactly happened, what sort of advice was sought, and what sort of advice is given, and to what extent the involvement of UK was there in Operation Blue Stars. If clarification is made and a statement is made, that will be good in the interest of India and in the interest of UK also.
And now new things come to light, that how not just the 84 riots, but this Gandhi family has been conspiring against the Sikhs from time immemorial. In 1983, Mrs. Gandhi asked the UK government to send military advice, and in September 1983 a military person comes, does a recce of the Golden Temple, and 10 months later she does Operation Blue Star and makes it out as if the Sikhs were such anti-nationalists and how she'd had to swoop down and overnight do it, whereas this was a pre-planned, premeditated thing. If she wanted to stop the extremists, stop the terrorists, she had 10 months before that which she could have done it when no one was inside the Golden Temple. But she did not deign to do it. She wanted to make this into an election gimmick. I'm shocked this Congress party, they do things like emergency, they do things like misleading the nation by attacking holy shrines and killing innocent people, and the day she decides to attack it was the day, the martyrdom day of the 5th Guru, where thousands of innocent devotees come. 2,000 people were killed. Has she named the innocents who were killed? There's no mention of them, which leads to the 84 genocide after that, where her son worked overtime to ensure his government cleaned out every Sikh who was living in Delhi. And now the son, who admits to this genocide and the Congress hand in it, turns around and refuses to name them and leave alone take any action. I mean, this is, I think, the ultimate of where a party which calls itself, wears the garb of secularism, but does the maximum communalism that anybody can possibly do. I'm surprised they have the gall to point fingers at anybody else.